Action. The one, the only.
In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis.
Welcome back to In the Life with Steve Stanulis. I'm Steve Stanulis. Going to keep the show going with my next guest. He's a dear friend of mine. I know him for many years. He was just in my last film, Long Shot Louie. Let's get out for the one, the only, Mr. Victor Colicchio. Vic, how we doing, bro?
We'll put water in here.
What's going on?
Well, just like you said, Long Shot Louie was the last film that I did with you. I get to see it at the Soho Film Festival. Did a couple of movies this year, but you weren't involved, so I'm not going to mention.
Yeah, you can't talk about that.
I wasn't involved.
Jay, it was his fault.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go now. Jay, let's go.
Okay, the Victor Show.
There you go. So let's start the whole. I just want to tell everybody out in the studio audience we have about 150,000 viewers. I just want you to talk about how, ironically, I was just mentioning to the crowd off set that you guys actually did a film together. I had no idea. So why don't we'll get into that first, and then we'll get into the whole Summer of Sam and everything. And we'll take it chronologically.
Well, it was called Potluck. It was produced by High Times Magazine. We had John Gallagher, our executive producer. And it was shot in New York right before September 11th and really captured the mood of what it was like to live in Manhattan when the inmates were running the asylum, you know, before all these laws and restrictions came about. And basically it follows a suitcase, a shitload of a suitcase full of pot around the city.
And you were involved with this? No.
Yeah. He stole it, I think, twice, but it gets sold, stolen, resold. It passes through the hands of mafia guys, artists, musicians, drag queens, trans testicles, everything.
And funny thing, again, like I said, the funny thing was, that's actually my first date with my wife. Took her to see Potluck for the premiere. So, I mean, it's always weird how you have all these tie-ins, where it's pretty crazy. It's only a New York way.
Surprised you gave you a second date after
You
that.
ain't kidding. You ain't joking.
Once you met your friends.
Yeah, I know. So I want to get into the whole Summer of Sam thing, because that was a totally crazy, interesting story, how that whole thing came about, and how you thought about bringing it to life. So just let's get into that a little bit.
Well, back, you know, in the late 70s, I was in a rock band, and someone had asked me, what are you going to do if your band doesn't find success? I go, well, this is the 70s, the 50s are popular. You had American Graffiti in the theaters, American Hot Wax, Happy Days on TV. So I said, if I don't make it, in the 90s, when the 70s are popular, I'm going to tell the story. I lived in a neighborhood where they had, you know, the son of Sam committed his first murder. And it was always interesting to me how, you know, it's like an Italian opera. You know, you had this little town, which was our neighborhood, Throgs Neck in the Bronx, or Trogs Neck, as we used to say. And then, you know, you have this little peaceful community on the bay, and then the killer comes to town, and just how it affected everybody's life. And I always found the way people reacted to the killer more interesting than the killings themselves. I mean, it was frightening. Never before with a killer. It was a lot like Jack the Ripper. He was not only murdering people, he was sending in these horrible letters into the newspapers, asking the cops, please catch me, I don't want to kill anymore. And it was really frightening. So I had been acting for about 10 years, and I thought about writing a script because I knew I couldn't write the worst one. I've been in some clunkers.
Right.
Like Potluck, right? You know?
That's why my wife wasn't going to date me again after she saw that movie.
I actually played a cop in the movie.
Did you? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was convincing.
Yes.
You don't look like a cop.
I don't. I'm probably the most non-cop cop of all time.
Where's that picture of you?
I have no idea. Page 121. But anyway.
Exactly.
I have no idea where I am. 121. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where was I?
You were talking about being a cop.
How long have I been on?
Sam, you were saying that you were scared to death. You
Yeah,
shot your
right.
pizza fan 3 times.
Yeah.
And you pulled your balls out.
We actually went after him. You know, there were posses. The mob was offering reward money. The newspapers were offering reward money. The cops, everyone. There was so much reward money that we used to sit around fantasizing about it all the time.
Right.
And we went out with baseball bats at night. We'd hide in parking lots looking for him. I remember me and my friend Tommy Acosta. We were sitting in.
Tommy Acosta's Italian?
He's Cuban, actually. But, you know, he was one of us.
Tommy
so,
Acosta from Throgs now.
Yeah.
Oh, forget it.
Still reeked the garlic.
I hear you.
So we were in Pelham Bay Park, and we're sitting there in the car, and we decided, all right, let's pull out. In the meantime, there was another 2 or 3 posses looking around, and they seen us like creeping around and getting in the car. And there was rumors that it could have been more than one. It could have been a cult and all this, and we had long hair. So we're going to drive out of Pelham Bay Park, and there's one exit. And all these Italian guys are lined up. There must have been 20 or 30 of them with baseball bats. And they start throwing rocks at the car. And my friend Tommy's driving, he's slowing down. He says, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I stepped up, pushed his foot into the gas pedal. I said, floor it! And we went right through them. They went in like 100 different directions. But that time I thought I was going to be a victim of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was that crazy. But I just knew it was an interesting story because of all the characters. And although there was some mafia characters in the movie, it showed, you okay? You want some water? I don't want it. I don't want this.
You want some Johnny Walker?
They make this stuff out of rain.
But what I want to touch on, because there's a lot of, most of our audience is aspiring actors, writers, all, producers, they want to get into business. What was the whole process of getting that made? I mean, as your first project, as a writer, how was that? Let everybody know what that whole, what that took to.
The only way you can ever sell a script is you have to have a tagline. When somebody asks you, what is the script about, you have to be able to say it in one sentence. Now, I happened to bump into Spike Lee at a party for Girl 6, and with Michael Imperioli, was the original director. And Spike just says, you guys, I heard you're going to direct a movie. What's it about? And Michael says, well, Vic wrote it. And I says, it's just about a bunch of Italian guys in the Bronx that almost beat their best friend to death because they thought he was the son of Sam Killer. And that was all he had to hear. Next thing you know, he had the script. He came on as executive producer. With John Gallagher was involved in that too. Formatted the script for me. I didn't even know how to format it. It was before they had computers. And we tried shopping it around. James Marandino came on once as a director.
Another friend of mine.
Yeah, you were in his movie, right?
Well, he was actually in my movie, but yeah.
He was in your movie. Tell us about that movie. How did you get that movie?
Funny you should say that. No, go ahead. Yes, James is actually, yes, absolutely.
So, it was from the time I wrote it to selling, it was almost a 2-year process and 200 rewrites. And
Right.
every studio you take it to wants something different. And so I learned a lot about
How was
screenwriting.
Spike? How was Spike to work with?
He was great to work
Yeah,
with.
I heard.
Yeah, he's, especially I worked with him in a couple of other movies, Inside Man being one. And on Inside Man, he lets his actors improv or paraphrase. So I'm doing that throughout the whole movie, I had one scene where I was supposed to call Denzel Washington an African American. And I went, an African American, Oh, he was so upset until he found out that me and Spike had planned it. But I'm improvising through the whole movie. On the last day, I'm in the vault, and Denzel Washington yells out, Sergeant Collins, yeah, keep an eye on the door. Yeah, don't let anybody in, and I don't say anything. So Spike said, how come you didn't say yes, sir, on the third one? I says, because there were only 2 yeses in the script. He goes, now on the last day, you're worried about the script? You haven't come close to it the whole shoot,
That's funny, that's great.
But he was that, he didn't really care,
That's awesome. So what are you working on now?
I'm working on a screenplay. I don't want to talk about it now because there's how many thousands of people out there?
Enough.
So I'm doing a little singing. I'm working on updating my nightclub act from 50s music
Cool.
to 40s music, doing Sinatra, Dean Martin, the old jokes.
Luck be has
No.
Luck be a lady
Can I hear a
tonight.
song? Can I
Yeah,
hear
can we,
a song?
can
Just
you
a
croon
quick
a little?
Penso che sono così non ritorni mai più. Mi te previngi in mani le facce dei blu.
Everybody, let's get up for one. The only Mr. Victor Colicchio. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. We're in the live with Steve Stanulis. We'll be right back.